Welcome to today's explainer on curriculum development. We're going to unpack exactly how to build learning ecosystems that are flexible, relevant, and most importantly, sustainable for our students. If you're an educator, an administrator, or honestly, just someone passionate about how we structure learning, you already know that what happens behind the scenes is just as absolutely crucial as what happens in the classroom.
And a quick shout out right off the bat, today's explainer is proudly brought to you by Research Union Insights. They're doing incredible work equipping educational leaders with the evidence-based strategies they need to completely transform their institutions.
All right, let's just dive right in with a massive question. Why are our teachers burning out? Well, it actually might surprise you. The data shows teachers aren't burning out from a lack of commitment. No way. They are burning out from decision fatigue. When a curriculum is muddy or unclear, teachers are forced to fill in the instructional gaps on their own, night after night. They're essentially building the plane while flying it. And let's be real, that is just not sustainable. So here is our agenda for this explainer. First, why curriculum matters. Second, design versus development. Third, 3 curriculum approaches. Fourth, the development cycle. And finally, trends and future challenges. Starting with Section 1, Why Curriculum Matters, the bridge to learning. You see, a curriculum is so much more than just a syllabus. It's the highly intentional process of designing learning over time. A properly developed curriculum acts as a bridge, connecting those broad, high-level educational standards right down to daily classroom instruction. It replaces random, day-to-day choices with a coherent long-term arc. And by doing this, it dramatically reduces that overwhelming teacher workload we were just talking about. Plus, it ensures that every single student, no matter whose classroom they happen to be sitting in, gets consistent, high-quality access to grade-level learning. Moving on to Section 2, Design versus Development, Blueprint versus Construction. There is a super common misconception in the education world. People use design and development interchangeably all the time, but actually, they really shouldn't. Curriculum design is just the structural framework. It's the deliberate decision about exactly what to teach and the sequence of that content. Think of it like drawing the architectural blueprint for a house. Curriculum development, on the other hand, is the full overarching process of actually constructing and maintaining that house. It's the entire life cycle. So the key takeaway here, development is a systematic, end-to-end process. It requires planning, designing, implementing, and crucially, constantly evaluating to make sure student learning outcomes are actually being met. Look, a beautiful blueprint means absolutely nothing if the building process is a mess, right? And a robust building process will fail if the blueprint is weak. They have to work together, but development is the overarching umbrella. All right, Section 3, 3 curriculum approaches, centering the focus. When you're designing this educational architecture, you generally have 3 main paths you can take. First up, you've got the learner-centered approach. This leans heavily into student needs and interests. It's highly engaging for sure, but man, it can be really labor-intensive for teachers. Second is the subject-centered approach. This is your traditional focus on specific disciplines, math, science, history. It allows for deep standardization and it's easy to replicate, but it definitely feels a lot less personalized. Finally, the problem-centered approach tackles real-world issues. Students learn by solving complex problems, which builds awesome critical thinking and teamwork, though it does require incredibly careful planning. Ultimately, the strongest curricula out there actually blend elements of all 3 to create a really balanced experience. Section 4, the development cycle, a continuous loop. Okay, so curriculum development is not something you just do once and forget about. It's a continuous loop. Building a successful program means moving chronologically through 5 specific steps. You start by analyzing your situation, then you formulate crystal clear objectives, you select and organize your content, determine your teaching methodologies, and finally, you conduct a rigorous evaluation and review. Let's actually break a few of these down to see what they look like in the real world. That very first step, situational analysis. This literally means starting with what is actually happening in your schools right now. Before you even think about creating something shiny and new, your development team needs to dig into real classroom data, test scores, student work, and teacher feedback. You have to identify the real-world gaps and the current strengths in your setup. Once you have your objectives locked in, you move right into selecting and organizing your content. This is where you really need to understand scope and sequence. Scope is the breadth of the topics you're covering, and sequence is the chronological order you teach them in. Getting this right ensures that ideas build logically over time, giving students a solid mental map. Plus, the instructional resources you choose here absolutely must be evidence-aligned. We're talking about strategies based on the actual science of learning, not just the latest passing educational fad.
But listen, having a great plan on paper, that's only half the battle. Rolling the curriculum out into actual classrooms is often the hardest phase of the whole shebang. To effectively implement these new methodologies, teachers absolutely must have a head start to wrap their heads around the material. They need collaborative time with their peers, and they need ongoing coaching to adapt the curriculum to the incredibly diverse needs of the students sitting right in front of them.
Which brings us to a really profound point, and maybe a bit of a controversial one for some. There's this lingering myth that a strict curriculum strips away a teacher's autonomy. Well, I absolutely love this quote from our source material because it totally shatters that myth. It says, "A strong curriculum does not narrow teaching. It makes great teaching possible." Think about it. When expectations are clear and the heavy lifting of long-term planning is handled for them, it actually gives teachers the mental space and the freedom to be truly creative and responsive in the classroom.
And finally, Section 5, Trends and Future Challenges, Future-Proofing Education.
The future of learning is shifting so fast. Modern curriculum development is heavily leaning into competency-based education, meaning we're teaching real-world applicable skills. We're also seeing a massive push for personalized learning, leveraging digital tech and AI to tailor instruction to individual kids. There's a huge emphasis on integrated STEAM, combining science, tech, engineering, arts, and math. And perhaps most importantly, we're seeing a deep integration of social-emotional learning, or SEL, alongside global citizenship. Because we need to prepare students not just academically, but emotionally for a wildly diverse and interconnected world.
But it's not all sunshine and rainbows. Implementing these incredible trends means developers have to navigate some very real hurdles. You've got to balance the competing expectations of teachers, parents, and policymakers. You have to keep up with rapid tech changes that can literally make a new tool obsolete in a matter of months. You're constantly battling resource and funding constraints. And let's be honest, we can't forget natural human resistance to change among staff when you introduce new systems. Navigating all of this requires highly collaborative planning, continuous faculty training, and super flexible digital management tools.
Well, we have covered a ton of ground today, from understanding exactly why a good curriculum relieves teacher burnout to navigating the complex, ongoing loop of the development cycle. And because curriculum development is a cycle that is truly never finished, I want to leave you with this final, vital question. Take a hard look at your own institution. Is your curriculum just a dusty blueprint sitting on a shelf somewhere? Or is it a continuously adapting, living ecosystem? Thank you so much for joining me for today's Explainer. Keep learning, keep adapting, and we will see you next time.